Welcome back to the channel. This is The Casuals. I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And we're finally back at PowerWash. And it's been a couple weeks since our last episode for PowerWash.
I think more like a month.
Oh yeah, huh? Yeah, it
we
has.
And for 3 weeks.
Yeah. And we just did the impractical questions last week. So yeah, that's pretty much over a month since we last did it. And it's still dirty like last time. Literally zero change whatsoever. Oh well, Saki did end up getting a different colored suit. He looks more fancier than me now. He looks more elite.
Hold on, wait.
Oh.
Sorry, I need to
It is truly on brand.
Too bad I can't see what my character looks like.
True. I wonder if there is a third person mode or not. But anyways, yeah, we're back. This one is not gonna be that special. We're just simply gonna talk about our stories. And so let's get power washing, I guess. So okay, there we go. So now that it's been a while, I did have a couple stories, I guess, that I did wanna, or topics that I wanna go over. And I guess it's kind of like out of nowhere, but one of the things I thought was, what is the most painful thing that you have ever gone through, right? Because when I think about it a lot, like, I don't think I've ever gotten like a serious injury, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't lose an arm, or I didn't get like impaled or anything, or my hands didn't explode. I lived a pretty safe life, to be honest, and so I'm like, man, I don't really have like an experience where I've been hurt like other people have been hurt, where they go through like horrific incidents where it would hurt a lot. But I do still have some of my own, and you know, to give you some time to think about it, because I did just bring this up as a last moment thing. I guess I'll tell you my, experience of the most painful thing I've ever went through. I would say it's kind of a tie, because there's two incidents, but they're different types of pain. And so my first one was the type, like, so this was back when I was in middle school. And I was like sitting at my, I think I was sitting at my desk, on my chair at my desk, sorry, in my room, and I was just making my own business, playing games, whatever, and all of a sudden I had a cramp, and cramps aren't unusual; they happen to almost everyone. I don't think there's ever been a person that doesn't get cramp. I feel like there has to be an individual that. Or there's no way. Oh, well, I guess it is possible that there is an individual who just does not get muscle cramps in their entirety of their life. But most of us know what a muscle cramp is like, and it's not fun whatsoever. And the location that I usually get muscle cramps is in my legs. But this one in particular was really messed up because it happened in where the region of the knees are. Like behind the knees, if that makes sense, like the opposite side of knees. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like on the back side of your leg?
Yeah. But like it's directly behind your knees.
Okay.
So
that sounds already.
I got a cramp there on my right leg, and I was just like like it's like fuck, right? Like it hurts. But it like cramps come and go, so it's not like you're gonna die or anything. But I was just like, fuck, that hurts, right? So I like got off my desk. No, I didn't get off my desk, actually, or get off my chair. I kind of like just started massaging it, trying to like release the stiffness and stopping it from cramping. But then when I was doing that, literally maybe 20 seconds later, I got a second cramp on my other leg in the same exact place.
Life was like, oh, we're going to give you a cramp. You're like, bring it. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll bring it. And they give you a second one.
They give me a second one on the same exact like spot on the other leg. So instead of being able to like focus on uncramping my right leg, my left leg was now cramped up, and so I was dealing with double pain, and my god, it was one of the worst pains of my life. Like, it was so bad that, like, I screamed. I literally screamed at my mom because it was that bad. I usually never, like, I mean, once I have a cramp, I'm like, ooh, it hurts. Like, you know, sometimes I just call over my mom, like, hey, mom, like, can I get a massage or something? Like, my leg's cramped up, and she'll come over and help me, and yada, yada, yada. But this one, it was so bad that literally my only response was screaming, right? And after screaming, my mom, like, heard it, and she's like, what the fuck is going on, right? And then I started calling out for her, and she runs up, and she's like, what's going on, right? And she sees me clutching at, like, both of my legs, just, like, screaming for this pain to stop. And I legitimately was, like, frozen in place because it was, like, continuously painful, but, like, if I moved any, like, in any way or form, like, it got worse, right? So I was kind of like huddled into my chair, like, because I brought up my legs to, like, not have it stretched out. And so I was, like, in a fetal position, but on my chair, and I couldn't move. And so that was the first time ever in my life where I had cried due to pain. And it's, like, the only time I legitimately cried from pain, like, pure pain. Very rarely have I actually cried from, like, legitimate pain, like, to the point where I couldn't endure it. And I was screaming and crying because of that. And so, yeah. And so, my mom had to, like, pick me up and put me on my bed. Luckily, my bed was, like, right next to my chair. But for the next, like, 4 hours, I legitimately could not move while being in pain.
That's pretty rough. 4 hours.
I just could not move. It was that bad.
Damn, that's rough.
And, you know, the double cramp has never ever happened again, but I always fear that, like, when I get a cramp, I always fear, I'm like, is a second one gonna come? Because if it does, help me God, I don't think as an adult now, I would be able to endure that much pain.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, they were kind of both at the same time, huh?
Yeah, they were literally like 10 to 20 seconds apart. So my mind wasn't even prepared, dude. Because my mind was like, okay, I'm dealing with this first pain, and then the second one hits. It's like it's just so bad. It was like a freaking... It was just a nightmare, dude.
Yeah, that sounds very unpleasant.
And my mom, after the like 6 hours later, she's like, "You're fine." I'm like, "I'm not."
She's like, yeah, just stand up and shake it off. You're fine.
That's what she kind of told me. She told me, like, you gotta move your legs, or else your legs are never get better. I'm like, it's painful to move it. I don't know. It just felt so terrible too, because where it was located.
Yeah.
Because that's like where you're like, you know, that kind of like, it's like a string, right? You know what I mean? Those two strings behind your knee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's where it cramped up too. Like that entire region where the strings were like really stiff and cramping.
That's rough, man.
I literally felt. I think I like experienced like a glimpse of what it's like to have no legs. Just laying down in bed, stuck there. It was terrible, man. It was terrible. But yeah, that was like probably the worst actual pain in my life. And that's probably the only time where I had legitimately cried from pain. But then again, it's like I don't, as I said before, I don't really get into incidents where I actually am in like get like a horrific injury or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So other people may be like, you're just a baby. You know, I lost a leg, whatever. You know, which is very valid to say, like, I'm a baby. But being a baby, that was the worst pain. It was bad. It was bad. But yeah. I do have a second incident where, or like the second, I guess second or even maybe first most painful thing in my life too. And those are pretty much only those two incidents. But if you have a story, you know, you can share first.
I'm just trying to think of which one's the most painful.
Do you want me to tell you my second, I guess, most painful
Go for it.
incident? Okay, so this one's a little bit unexpected because if you heard me saying that was the most like painful, actual painful thing that ever happened in my life, um, the second one was very painful, but it wasn't like, I guess, injury related. But the second most painful thing in my life was when my dog passed away, and it sucked because it was everything went wrong essentially. Um, so what had happened was I'm not gonna, I guess, not go into too much detail, but essentially my dog started showing that there was something wrong with her, and we took her to the emergency room, and she stabilized for a bit, but she went into coma again, and eventually she passed away. And what was the factors in making it so bad was because this happened in December 26th, 2019. So it was a day after Christmas, and then it was just before COVID hit. Um, and the fact that I lost my dog of 10 years at that point, 10 years of my life, which was literally half my life, I think, at that point. So she had been with me for that long. And suddenly, like, she gets into a serious condition where it's not like it's not like it was like, she was slowly showing signs of it. It just suddenly happened. And like within the next 10 hours, she was gone. And it was like a heart condition where her heart, I think, got too large or something like that, and so it failed to, like, she like was failing to breathe at times or something. It's kind of common in smaller dogs for that to happen, from what I was told by the vet. But I guess that like isn't even the end of like it being the worst part, because at the time it was just me and my mom, and so I had to drive my dog to the emergency care, and we were there for hours before we were told like some bad news where she was like, like even if they managed to save her now and stabilize her, she would only live for a year left. And of course, my mom loves my dog. Everyone in my family loves my dog. And they were like, yeah, do whatever it takes to save her. We want to at least, a year is good enough. Just, save her, please. But my instinct during that time was like, if it's the condition that it was, which was like heart, like something about her heart valve being too large or something like that. I don't remember the exact details for that one. But she was essentially going to have to live that last year on medications constantly. So it wasn't like she was going to be able to, have a more carefree life, and then, she would, I guess, like relapse or anything. But she would just constantly have to be on like medication, and theoretically constantly be in pain while living that last year. And the chances of her even living through it were slim. And I talked to my mom during the time. She's obviously distressed. And she, I told her, like, I don't think we should put, our dog through that treatment. And as much as I hated saying that, that's what I thought was the best, I guess, choice at that time. Despite, I love that dog. It's not like I was feeling like, I can move on. It was very hard for me to say that in the first place. But eventually, my sister came and my dad, like, they're like, I'll save her. They're like, oh, just save her, what we could do. And then, I didn't want to reject that majority. And I secretly, in my heart, I wanted that to happen where she would be able to live for another year. And so by the time that everything was said and done in terms of like discussing with the vet, like that we want to, keep her alive as much as possible, and they were like, all right, we'll put her, we'll keep her in that urgent care facility for the next night, or for the night, in order for her to observe and make sure that she gets the treatment she gets. We left at like, I want to say 10. We left the vet at 10 o'clock, and before we left, we saw her, and she looked so like, how do you say this, miserable in the fact that she was separated from her mom, right? Because she loved my mom, and it was heartbreaking to see my mom being so sad, like that she's stuck in this like incubation like special like box where like they have to feed oxygen to her because she was having trouble breathing. And we left, no way to stay because they can't have patients staying overnight. And we got home, we're like, okay, tomorrow we'll, come back and, hopefully she'll have stabilized by then. And it was around 12 o'clock, I remember. Like close to 12, if not 12. I get a call from the urgent care facility, and it's their night shift. And they told me like my dog, we're getting a call in regards to your dog, and we need to discuss to you, like, your dog went to a coma again. She's not breathing, like she's come back twice and she's finally slipped again, and we honestly don't think that she's gonna come back. And like even if she does, she's gonna be in massive pain because of the amount of times we're bringing her back from coma and she's not being able to breathe. And then and there they asked me like, we need your permission whether or not you want to continue this or you don't, right? And I asked him like, what are the chances of her surviving? He said almost none. At this point, we're basically kind of essentially beating the dead horse, I guess would be the terminology. And what was worse was because my sister doesn't live with us, and my dad was like out because he had to stop the middle of his job or something like that, and he had to resume it going back late at night. So it was just me and my mom again, and I'm the one who got the call because I was put down as the person to call. And being faced with that decision, I guess, really sucked. But in the end, I ended up making the decision, like, please just, end the life support. Like, at the time, like, I felt like there was no way she could survive, and even if she did, she'd just be in pain. So I verbally told, like, I gave them permission, like, you can stop now, like, let her pass. And so they did. And then I had to come out of my room when we thought that when my mom thought that she would be able to see her tomorrow. I had to bring the bad news. She's not coming back, and so we had to drive again back to that emergency room, emergency animal hospital, only to find her no longer alive. And it was one of the most painful things. I remember it was one of the most painful times of my life because I had never imagined that, like, well, have you ever heard the term like a hole in your heart, whatever?
Yeah.
That's what it legitimately felt like. I had never understood that phrase. Like, I understood it in terms of like, it's like, they're super sad about it, like, it's something tragic, right? But until people who have never experienced this before, until you lose something that you love, whether it be a pet or a loved one, I think the meaning of, I don't think you'll be able to grasp a true meaning of like a hole in your heart, because that's what it legitimately felt like for the next 3 days, where it felt like I had a hole in my chest during the entire time. It was hard to breathe during that day. When I tried sleeping at night, I just couldn't. I just had a hole. Like, it felt like I had a hole, and I was trying to breathe, and I just couldn't. So that was one of the most painful things in my life too. That wasn't physical. That didn't even happen to me, really. Just the passing of my dog that I loved so much, just so suddenly, on December 26th, technically 27th, I guess officially, 2019, sucked. And then COVID hit. And the house was really quiet. And during the entire time, I kept on thinking, man, if, our dog was still here, it wouldn't feel as lonely. But, I mean, what can you do when life is like that? So, yeah, that was the most painful thing, one of the two most painful things of my life that I've ever encountered. I guess one physically and one emotionally.
Well, damn. Do we even want to continue?
What's funny is that right now I have the music playing and it's just cheerful music.
Oh, okay.
But like
Mood again.
it's been years now, like, and I've learned to like accept it and move on. And I'm still glad I had that dog in my life. She was super. She was full of personality. She was super fun dog, and you've met that dog too before.
I have.
So yeah, that is the two most painful things of my life. And like I don't, and when I say like I'm fine. Like I truly am fine. I don't feel sad anymore. It's been 5 years at this point, so we're good. We have two dogs now. They're both dumb. I love them.
Well, geez. Okay. My turn, I guess.
Yeah. What is the most painful thing you've ever gone through?
Um, Maybe the most painful was I was in high school. This is more of an emotional one.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in high school. I was a junior, I believe. That's grade 11. Yeah, junior. And you know, we already knew my grandpa was like currently like sick at the time, and we already knew like he was sick. Like he wasn't trying to hide it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, he's sick. We just gotta keep a extra eye on him. And I went to school, came back. I was in my front yard,
Mm-hmm.
shooting hoops. How we met? You remember that hoop?
Yeah.
So I was shooting hoops, and my brother came out, and he was like, "Hey, where's mom?" And I was like, "Oh, she went on her jog, because she jogged around the area
Mm-hmm.
to get her exercise." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "We need to go find her." And I was like, "Oh, what's wrong?" He's like, "Grandpa died." And I was like, "Oh, well, okay then." So my we literally we literally hopped in the car, drove around like the area which we knew she was running,
Mm-hmm.
and we were literally just like looking around for her like on the street. And we literally just picked her up and we're like, "Hey, we gotta go. We gotta go over to grandma's house because that's where my grandpa was."
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, "We need to go now because he is gone." So we hopped in the car, we drove over, and I just remember everyone in my whole family was there. Extended family and everything. We were the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
And, my dad met us there. So we were literally there, and everyone was crying, obviously. And I just remember my whole family was just bawling their eyes out. And for some reason, I don't know. I was sad. I knew I was sad, but I didn't feel anything.
Mm.
I was just like, he's gone. Okay. Well, can't really do anything about it. I guess that was my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, they're mourning and stuff, and I'm over here like, just like poker face, like, yep. And I just couldn't express emotion for some reason. And I feel bad. But even to this day, I can't really express, like, sad, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't cry, really. When, like, something's really sad happens. I just can't. But I just remember because my dad was, he was a mess. And of course, it's his dad. He's he's gone now. So he was just a mess. And then I remember I was like, oh, like I guess it was my grandma at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my aunt. I think my aunt was there, just what, helping her. And I forget who said it, but they were like, "Yeah, I literally just like watched him die in front of me," and I was like, "Oh shoot!" Like they saw him take his last breaths, I guess.
Mm.
He was on oxygen, and then all of a sudden, it just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
When you stop breathing, you stop using the oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're like, "Yeah, I kind of just watched him die," and I was like, "Oh, that's horrifying." But I was like, "Damn, like, why can't I feel anything?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just felt bad. It was painful to watch. So I don't know. I just painful, but I couldn't express anything.
Mm.
I don't know. That was probably one of the most painfuls. I think mainly the fact that I couldn't express emotion at that time.
Mm. I think I'm sure people may have told you in the past too, or even now, that like you don't need to feel bad for that, because I guess people do process things differently.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just not showing any emotion. I was just confused. I think that I couldn't show emotion.
Just like a painful realization.
I guess we knew he was, gonna go soon, but of course, you never expect it, just all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his was just all of a sudden. I mean, he was
Honest.
sick, but
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say he was sick, but like we knew he was sick, and we just didn't know how long I guess he had.
Mm.
So
I was gonna
yeah,
say your reaction wasn't as bad as mine, because what's it called? Admittedly, I was worse when one of my grandmas died. Um, she passed away from Alzheimer's or something like that. But
hmm
I legitimately did not feel anything, like not even a hint of sadness, because there's I guess a lot of factors is that like I never really met her. Like I met her when I was a child a couple times, but like I never even really talked to her.
hmm
So essentially, she was straight up a stranger to me at this point. Um, so when the news broke out that she passed away, I was just like, oh, that's bad, I guess. I mean, the only thing I had was concern for my mother because that was my mom's mom. But as for the individual in question, I didn't really feel anything at all. And when the funeral came, I literally was like, it's bad, I understand. But, like, I guess if I had to really put it in perspective, like, she was genuinely just a stranger to me. So at her funeral, all I could think was, man, I'm bored.
Well, how old were you too? If you were a kid, then
I was, I think, high school, if not like, between high school and college.
oh,
So, it was pretty bad now that I think back up on it. But, um, again, like, I genuinely, like, did not know her at all. I met her, like, maybe 4 times in my life or something like that. So I didn't really have a reaction at all.
hmm. Just had to one up me, huh?
Just dead inside. No, but, like, I think for me, it's like, if I'm not personally attached to something, then, like, I'll feel, like, bad for her, whatever, but, like, I won't feel sad, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was, like, bored at the funeral was something else, man.
Yeah, that's That's a little more rough, but
I remember my family friend back then, way back into this was back when I was like in elementary, if not middle school. Um, family friend's son died because of a drunk driver hitting him. Dude was in a coma for a couple days, and then they felt like eventually like he wasn't gonna wake up anytime soon, so they pulled his life support.
mm-hmm.
And I remember when the news finally broke, I was just like, even that then, I was just like, damn, that sucks. And I don't mean it in a mocking way. It's just like I wasn't particularly close with them at all. So it's like, despite them being a family friend, I never really like knew him. I met him only a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew the sister of that, the daughter of that family, and I interacted with her way more. Obviously, she was very distraught because it's her brother passing away. But even then, I was just like, man, that sucks. Like, shit. I think the closest I ever came to like being sad for a kind of a stranger, like very sad, was when my friend's father died of a heart attack all of a sudden. Like, he was perfectly healthy, by the way. He was fit. Very active, did jogging all the time. And everything. And he just suddenly passed away from a heart attack. It just happened so suddenly. And so, I was sad for my friend. Like, I was really sad because he had just lost his dad. And he loved his dad a lot. And I met him a couple times too, and he was an awesome person. Like, he genuinely seemed like a cool person. And I remember, like, the funeral, I was pretty sad. I was like, damn, like, so this is what it's like losing, like, this. That was, like, the first real taste of, like, someone I knew more better, and, like, it was related to someone he cared about passing away. And it sucked, and I felt sad. But I remember after then, because what usually happens is, like, you go out, or I don't know if that's as common for you, but, like, after a funeral, you go out and eat.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out to eat, and then, like, I immediately forgot about him. Like, it just didn't pop up to my mind. Like, we were just at a funeral later. Like, we were just talking, chatting. Like, I was like, yeah, hanging out with friends again.
That food got to you, man.
It did. We waited 30 minutes for our food. No, actually 40 minutes for our food. And we found out that even though we had ordered it, they never entered it. So we were waiting for 40 minutes for nothing. So yeah, if you ever feel bad about that, like, you feeling like you can't cry or anything at your grandpa's, I guess, passing away, just know that I completely disregarded my own grandma's funeral and, completely forgot about my friend's, dad passing within the next hour of the funeral finishing.
Cold-hearted, man. I'm just kidding, no.
And I think what's like at that time, like, I was thinking about, like, am I cold, like, genuinely like a psychopath or something that I thought that way? And I think, like, after some thought, like, I'm not. Like, I cry like a little baby at, like, anime being sad, or like sad animal stories. But for some reason, when it's like, when it isn't closely involved with me in terms of real people, like, I don't really cry out of sadness, or I just feel sad or down. Like, I'm like, man, this sucks, and then I kind of just move on really fast.
Hey, man, that's just how you are. Nothing wrong with that.
And that's why at my funeral, dude, I don't want anyone crying. I just want them to be like, all right, here's Jin, lived an okay life, died of, whatever stupid cause, or he did this, whatever. All right, that's it. Everyone want to go out? Let's eat. I genuinely want my funeral to be like that. I don't need, like, a fucking wake of, like, people crying over me. Like, I don't want that. Just fucking, like, put me down in the ground or something, or spread my ashes really fast and just get out of there. Move on.
Oh, my brain. Okay.
What'd you think?
Oh, I'm just like I'm a psychopath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm like, it was mentioned at our work today,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, yeah, I have other things I might want at, my funeral too.
Uh-huh.
So I forget how they were talking about. Oh, they were talking about like classmates or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want all my group, like, when you did group projects, I want all my group members to be there so they can let me down one last time.
Oh, yeah!
I'm like, I either want that or I'm just gonna like tell my family like, hey, yeah, when I die, don't bury me. I want, just spread me around like most people do,
Uh-huh.
but don't cremate me.
Huh?
Yeah, so spread me around, but don't cremate me.
Huh.
Yeah, so just like chop me into pieces and just like throw me around places just to freak people out. Yeah, that was my thoughts.
You know, I guess another avenue is donate my body to science and have the military blow me up.
Yeah, or do that. Like, take my body out to like a field or something and just like throw a grenade in it and see what happens.
For
Like,
science.
yeah, science purposes or something. Just make it more not sad.
Have some fun. Yeah, I feel like I would kind of like want that.
Or like how I told you, if I died, read my eulogy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's literally just lived, died, fat. Like just
Oh.
something silly.
Yeah. Make everyone laugh a little bit. Although, I'm not sure if your fiance would be as amused if I did that.
No, but I think a funeral shouldn't be about death. I think it should be like celebrating their life.
Definitely. That's how I feel it too. And obviously there is going to be sadness because those who care about you have lost someone important in their, lives, but overall, yeah, I feel like it should be definitely, like as you said, a celebration of that person's life.
And make it hilarious.
I remember I saw a joke, and I did mention this to you at work too, where there's like a joke between like the kitchen cooks, whatever, in the restaurant industry,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, what I want at my funeral is a bunch of my friends in the industry to gather at my funeral place and have one person stand up, go to the podium, and say, whatever name. Let's just say his name is John, right? He's gonna be like, John, 86, and then everyone stands up and says, understood, and then walk away. And so what the context is that 86 in the restaurant industry apparently means gone. And so it's very common. So let's just say like a vegetable is gone, like carrots, right? They would say carrots 86, and everyone would be like understood, right? Which means they all acknowledge that carrots are gone. They no longer have carrots, and so like the people out in the front and the cooks, whatever, will all acknowledge that there is no more carrots, and so they have to make changes based around that. So them by saying like John 86 is just John is gone, understood, go on about their day.
Yep.
Which honestly would be pretty rad, right?
I think I don't know. I think, yeah. I guess if you're in the restaurant and like business before, and and you guys use that term, I think it'd be pretty funny. Otherwise, people would be like, "What?"
Yeah, true. It would only be for the restaurant people, the line cooks, as they say. And then another one. Again, most of this I've read off of the internet. I do not come up with these ideas. I'm not a very original person. Another one was like, someone like posted like, I have a business idea where you hire me, where I dress in all black, have a black umbrella, and I stand in the distance while your funeral is happening, so that it makes people, those who are attending the funeral, think that you've been like, you had a secretive second life. Mm-hmm. That you told no one about. and you just silently stare, and they just silent, or you just silently stare, whatever, or I silently stare in the distance, and then walk away.
Or there's another one who was like a mob, you know, the mob bosses or whatever they're called. Just have like the group, like just show up and be like, we're gonna miss you, man, or whatever. So it's like you were actually like important someday.
Yeah. Or like he's be like, Tony was a respectable man. My condolences to you and his family. Just have a totally Italian person show up. Or Italian American, whatever.
No, full Italian.
A full Italian?
Hey, hey.
That'd be so fun. I would definitely hire someone like, dude, like, you know, just like start making it seem like, oh, like he was part of the mob, and just start saying like the most dumb things that I did. Like, he washed the dishes and his mama was proud.
He ate 20 chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I wanted to look all serious too, and then just start spewing out like silly things, and they're like, ah, okay, you know, this is clearly a joke, but like it's funny.
And then he's like, no, this is serious.
Wouldn't that be a great business idea?
Yeah. He's like, you can hire me and I'll dress up as an important person and come to your funeral and pretend like you were a very important person.
And just make people question whether or not you were truly important.
Yep.
Oh man, that'd be so funny. Oh my god. We're probably gonna have to end this soon then.
I'm not even done cleaning.
Yeah, I know, dude, it's so long.
Man, is there gonna be a part 3 to this one or this one area?
Yeah, there's gonna have to be, because we're already 42 minutes in. So yeah, we're just gonna have to stop it here for now. So yeah, that is our story of the most painful things in our lives. With happy music accompanying it.
Appropriate.
Very appropriate. And whoever, you know, hears our funeral ideas, please do use it if you feel like it's funny. I genuinely want to hear an instance of it happening in real life.
I think that'd just be great.
Indeed. But yeah, gonna end it here. So I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And this is The Casuals, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.